Viewers like you make this program possible. Support your local PBS station.
Peterson, who came down us all the way from Monterey bringing his wines. He's the winemaker at the Monterey Vineyard and also at the Taylor, California wine cellars. It's not an inconsiderable job. Also with us is our visiting chef, Jim Cohen, who has prepared our first course. He's executive chef at the Top Louise restaurant in Denver, Colorado. Our guests are sipping champagne from the Taylor wine cellars and also eating some very interesting hors d'oeuvres. We have crudités served in red cabbage cups with a sour cream dip. And here's another interesting hors d'oeuvre. This is a delicate Noor date stuffed with cheese and broiled with bacon. We got them in the depths of the desert the other day in India. It was quite an experience. Boy, here I am lost in the Southern California desert. It's 120 degrees, 200 feet below sea level. Well, I better have a drink of water. No water. God. Oh, there's somebody over there. Hey, mister. Sir. Hey, mister. Can you tell me where the date gardens are?
Well, you just find it, lady.
It looks like Tangiers around here.
Well, these trees did come from Algiers many years ago.
They did?
Yes.
What are you doing here?
Well, I'm doing what Mother Nature can't do. That's pollinate.
But it's not nice to fool Mother Nature.
Well, we can't depend on Mother Nature 100%, so we have to go up the tree to pollinate by hand.
Gosh, I didn't realize there was so much hand work connected with dates.
This is a female tree.
You know.
And next to it is an offshoot male tree.
How do you know it's male?
Well, they got a male bunch with the pollen.
Oh, I see.
And we'll get the pollen out of there and we take it upstairs to pollinate the bunches.
And how do you get it up there?
You can go in one of these baskets if you're not afraid of height.
No, can't scare me. I thought we were going to be in the same basket.
No, we can't be together because it's too crowded.
Oh.
For safety purposes, it'd be one per basket.
Now, how old is a tree like this?
Oh, this tree is about 30, 35 years old.
How old do they get to be?
Oh, anywhere from 50 to 60 years.
Heavens, and keep right on producing. So, things with the nubbins on, or these are baby dates, aren't
Yes, this is a date we're going to have to pollinate. After Mother Nature couldn't do her job, we're going to have to help her. And we put a cotton full of pollen, and this is the cotton.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I got some pollen.
I can smell it.
Right. We put the cotton and the pollen here, and then we put a piece of string to hold the bunch together.
Yeah, that keeps the pollen in.
Right, like this.
I would think that little bit would pollinate the whole thing.
Yes, this bunch will probably produce about 25, 30 pounds of dates.
Gosh. Does it have a flower before it has a date?
No, this is it right here.
That is a flower.
Right, yeah.
What's the paper bag for?
Paper bag is to keep a temperature. So the pollen will fertile
It's kind of like a little greenhouse.
Right.
A stick of...
Yes, that's it. See?
And then when do the dates mature?
Oh, they mature on October, November.
Oh, gosh, so I'm not going to see any actual dates then?
Well, you can see them because we got a processing plant. They're processing now.
Where is it?
It's about 5-6 miles from here.
Oh, you mean I gotta walk all that distance?
No, you can hitch a ride on the highway.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay. Oh, I guess we're here. Adios, amigo. Oh, there's a nice-looking man in a white coat. It says you are John Davies, manager, quality control data operations. That's just what I'm looking for. I want to see those operations. Can I visit the plant?
Sure. Love to give tours.
You would?
Right this way.
Oh, that's wonderful.
These are, this is the way they come to us from cold storage.
This is just the way they are when they're harvested. They're kind of light, aren't they?
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then, this is a bin dump that dumps the fruit onto the slow moving conveyor.
And that's just to make it sort of even them out.
Yeah. Across to a washer. And we just put plain water across the brushes.
Yeah.
And that's what we, after we go from there to the hydrator.
Uh-huh.
And a hydrator is just a steam cabinet with which we heat the fruit for a certain length of time. And that depends upon how dry the fruit is and how much water was put on it to spread it.
How do you get the pits out?
Oh, over here, I'll show you.
Oh, okay.
The clamp shut, and as they're timed with these rods, push the pit through the date, and then the pit goes down here, and the dates go over the edge and go back in the clip.
That's all there is to it.
Julia, this is the place that we put the fruit into the cups, and these are the containers that we will sell to the markets or the customers supply in the market.
Oh, careful,
the 10-ounce cup, this is our largest single volume item. And then they go down into the litter.
Well, look at that. That's a marvelous machine.
Next unit is the checkware.
To make sure everything's right.
Right, the underweight, right.
Yeah.
And then we go down to the station where they put the styrene containers into the cases, the hand casing operation. They go down into the taping machine, go into cold storage, and that's where we're going now.
Well, now, John, we've pollinated them and packed them and washed them and put them on trays and inspected them and pitted them and put them in little cartons and put them in big cartons and dated them. You suppose I could have a taste of a date?
Sure, Julia. Just happen to have one here.
Gosh, well, that's good. These are the pitted ones.
Right, just like you saw being packed.
Now, that's good. That's just what I'd like. I'll take a case of those. No, do you suppose I could have a glass of water? I'm just dying of thirst.
Well, we don't have any water in here.
No water.
Why don't you try some of this?
That's good. What is it?
That's a great date shake.
Well, thank you, John.
Well, thank you, Julia.
Because of their natural sweetness, I thought that date shake was going to be terrible, but it was actually very good. Here's something else you can do with dates. These are the pitted dates that we saw. I've got some cream cheese with herbs in it. Put it in a pastry bag so you can stuff them and push that right down into the date. Shoot a wad of cheese in there. And then roll it up in a half strip of bacon. Secure it with a toothpick, put it under the broiler, and that's how they look when you serve them. Now for the main course, we're going to have our turkey. If you think of roasting a whole turkey as being a cumbersome job, taking hours in the oven and then the difficulty of carving, you might like the idea of a butterfly turkey. That's where you take the main bone structure out of the turkey, you leave the drumsticks and the wings, and then you spread it out. We call it a laid-back turkey. It roasts in about an hour and a half, and it's very easy to carve. It's just a dream. And here's how you go about it. You turn the turkey over on its side, and you take a very nice sharp knife, and you cut right down to the bone, to the backbone, from neck to tail, and then you start scraping the flesh from the bone along with the skin, and you want to leave the skin intact, because you want it to look like a turkey when you're through. That takes a little bit of time in there. See there? There it is. If you have a big turkey, it'll take longer than this. This is a 12.5-pound one, and it'll serve 10 people amply. Now, up here is a bone that sticks out in a kind of half-moon shape. That's the collarbone. And then just where that attaches is also the ball joint that attaches the wing to the carcass, and just cut through that ball joint. And the rest is very easy once you get these joints through. Crack, crack. But if you just scrape against bone and not against flesh, you won't have any trouble at all. And when you come to the tip of the breastbone, you want to stop because the skin is very, very thin there, and we want to be sure and keep it all intact. Turn over and do exactly the same thing on the other side. Now, after 4 or 5 minutes of patient boning on each side, you come down to the keel. That's the top of the breastbone here. You want to be very careful here because the skin is thin and you do not want to slit it. You want to leave it intact. So cut very carefully right against the bone there. There it is. Now you save that carcass for the stock for your soup. And now we come to the drumstick area, and there's the hip bone in here. You want to take that hip bone out because if you don't take it out, it's going to be hard to carve. So cut all the way around it on each side, and then there's the hip bone on that side. Now take the one out on the other side, and then you're ready to start cooking it. There it is, all nicely laid back, and I've skewered it just to keep it in place. And now I'm going to put on just a little bit of oil on this flesh side, and then I want to brown it on this side because we want to sear in the juices. It's going to have its main cooking on the skin side. So it's to be browned under the broiler and basted every 2 or 3 minutes. And when it's nicely lightly browned, that'll be about 10 or 15 minutes. Meanwhile, back on top of the stove, I've chopped up the meaty parts of the carcass, and I'm going to make a little gravy. It's going to be a brown turkey giblet gravy sauce. Sauce and gravy are the same thing, but sauce is the gourmet type word. And now also to give flavor and more color and brown to the sauce, I'm also going to brown some chopped carrots and onions in there. There, now that's lightly browned, and now I want it to thicken, the sauce to thicken as it cooks. So I'm going to put in about a 1/4 cup of flour, to sprinkle that in, and that's going to brown lightly. So it will have a little brown gravy. You want to turn that around in it, and that's got to cook for 2 or 3 minutes to cook the flour. Now I've got all this nicely browned with the flour, and now the next step is we want to extract all the flavor possible from these ingredients, and that means they're going to simmer. The first step is to put in a little wine. I've got some white vermouth in there. Stir that up to dissolve any nice cooking fragments. And then they're going to simmer in a pot because I've got to add some liquid to it. So in that goes. Looking dreadful at this point. That's the way it always does. And now I'm going to put in some chicken stock. I've got to cover those bones and ingredients. They're about 3 cups of chicken stock, and then enough water to cover. And then bring that up slowly up to the simmer. Cover it partially, leaving a little air hole so it's not really going to boil, and let that simmer for an hour and a half. Now, since this is a giblet sauce, we got to have giblets, and that's the commonly used term for these things here that come in a little package in the turkey. That's the gizzard, and the liver, and the heart. And I've diced up the gizzard and peeled and diced it, and then simmered it for about half an hour in stock and wine. And then the liver was added whole, and that's been simmered about 3 or 4 minutes. And we have the turkey heart, and these are all going to be diced and added to the sauce later. I'm going to roast this turkey laid back on a bed of tarragon-flavored chicken and mushroom duxelles stuffing. It's going to give it a marvelous flavor. I've got, about 2/3 cup of sautéed onions in here. And in the food processor, I have some mushrooms, and I've got to dice them up. You want to be careful not to turn them into mush. And then they have to be squeezed. That's what turns them into a duxelle, in that you squeeze out the juice so that they will cook rapidly. And they're in an impeccably clean towel, and the juices are going to go into my sauce. And you'll see that some juices are supposed to come out of there, and they're beginning to come. If you leave the juices in, it just takes them too long to cook, and you want the stuffing to be dry. So in they go to the onions. We want about, 2 cups of mushroom duxelle in all. That'll take about 4 or 5 minutes to cook. The mushrooms are done when the pieces begin to separate from each other and their oil begins to come out like that. And so now it's time to season them. Want a little bit of salt in there. We're going to have a little bit of pepper. It's always good to season everything as you go along, so if you try at the end, it's just too much. There's some fragrant tarragon, about half a teaspoon. And then also, to give it some pizzazz, a bit of either Madeira or port, 2 or 3 tablespoons. Just boil that down. That's it. That's the end of the mushroom part, and now we come to the chicken part. This is 2 cups or 1 pound of either raw chicken breast meat or of raw turkey breast meat, either one. And there is a half a cup of sour cream, all going into the food processor. And then we have 2 raw egg whites. That's about 1/4 of a cup. And again, we want a bit of salt in there and a bit of pepper. Now let her rip. Now in go the mushrooms. This is just an easy way of mixing everything together. There, stuffing is made. Now here's my boned, laid-back turkey that's been browned on one side under the broiler. That's on the flesh side. Now it needs a little bit of salt on there. Then here's the cooking apparatus, a rather unusual one. I've got a greased cookie sheet here, and that's going to lay in the roasting pan. The reason for that is once the turkey is in, you're never going to be able to get it out and show it to anybody. But if you get it out on the cookie sheet, then you can slide it off onto your platter or your carving board. And here is the stuffing, and I'm just going to slather that onto that greased cookie sheet. Then the turkey's going to lie on it. There, a beautiful bed for my turkey. And now, I'm going to put a little bit of salt on the outs on that turkey. This is now, as you remember, has been browned just on one side. Now I'm going to turn it so it's skin side up over that nice stuffing. Then this gets slathered with a little bit of nice soft butter. And vegetables go around, and these vegetables are very useful because they flavor the juices. And then now that's ready to go into a preheated 350 oven, and it should cook for about an hour, and you baste it 2 or 3 times with butter and then with juices in the pan. Now look at that, beautifully browned, and you're going to see why it's so nice to have it on a cookie sheet like this, because I just lay that on my carving board and just slide it off. And look how easy it is to carve. No bones. And there, each slice you get is going to get some of that beautiful stuffing. That's a beautiful way to cook a bird. And it's going to be delicious with our brown giblet gravy sauce. Now, to go with laid-back turkey, we've got a wonderful first course to be created for us by Jim Cohen from Tante Louise's restaurant in Denver, Colorado.
Sam, how's the bone? How's the bone, Sam?
Hi there, Jim. How are you getting along with Sam?
Well, just fine, Julia, but this is all we have left of the Kentucky ham.
Oh, gosh, I hope we have enough for the first course.
Well, I think we do.
Well, I think we better get going. Come on.
Julia, today our first course is going to be a ham mousse with sweetbreads. The mousse is flavored with chervil, shallots, and armagnac. The first process of making this mousse is I took the ham and soaked it for 24 hours in cold water. We then poached it for 4 hours and took the ham off the bone and cut it into small pieces. We then took equal amounts of boneless breast of chicken and put it through the food grinder. The food processor does a great job of making this into a fine puree. Now let's go to the next step. In the saute pan, we have some finely chopped shallots, which we're going to light and add some Armagnac brandy, wonderful, which we're going to flame to remove the alcohol from it and add some finely chopped fresh chervil. And let it reduce to get all the flavors out of the shallots and the chervil. Our reduction is cooled and we're going to add this to the puree. Put it in, like so. Now we're going to add a little white pepper to this for flavor. Now we're going to put the lid on and turn it on. We're now going to add our cream in a slow stream to the mixture. This gives it body and lightens the mousse to make a smooth emulsion. We're ready to taste. Looks great. Fantastic. Now we're going to go to the sweetbreads. The veal sweetbreads we've poached, cleaned, and separated into small pieces. We're going to fold this into our ham mousse mixture. Put those in there and add some texture to the mousse itself. We're now putting these into the ramekins, which will be in a water bath covered in the oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Now I want to get started on a sauce for our mousse. What I've done is made a reduction the same as we had for our mousse of shallots and chervil, which has been reduced in Armagnac. The difference this time is we're going to add glace de viande, which is a veal stock which has been reduced to a gel. We're going to add it to our sauce, turn it on, and let it reduce by half. I'm now going to add whole sweet butter to the sauce, take the whisk, and whisk it in until it's fully incorporated, moving it on and off of the heat so as the butter does not break. And that's our sauce. Here's our mousse on a beautiful bed of red lettuce. We're going to pour our sauce over it, let it drip down the sides. There. And there you are, Julia, our first course. All we need is a nice bottle of wine.
These wines are from the Monterey Vineyard, about 2 hours south of San Francisco, and the man responsible for making them is Dick Peterson. Welcome, Dick. We were wondering for our first course, the Kentucky ham mousse. What did you decide for that?
Well, I've become a fan of Pinot Blanc, especially Pinot Blanc in Monterey County in just the last 2 years. And I've got our first vintage was 1979. Yeah. This is a gold medal winner at the Orange County Fair.
Oh, good.
And I'd like your opinion of this, as a matter of fact. It's of course made in the same style as Chardonnay, bone dry, aged in European oak barrels, but a little lighter than Chardonnay.
Will do, I think.
I think that'll go well with that.
And now we're having turkey as a main course. What did you pick for that?
Well, from what you told me earlier, I think the turkey is, there's quite a bit of flavor there. And so we thought we would try a red wine. This is called the Monterey Vineyard Classic California Red. And the idea was to take classic varieties, in this case, Cabernet Sauvignon, Zinfandel, and Pinot Noir.
In other words, it's a blend.
It's more than 60, it's 65% Cabernet. The idea is that the other varieties make it lighter. They lighten up the Cabernet, give it a little more finesse. And I hope it'll go well with the turkey.
When you see the term Burgundy or Chablis, is that also a blend?
Yes, Burgundy is a generic term for any old red wine in California, generally, or any young red wine, usually. We didn't want to call it Burgundy because we think more of the wine than that. It's really a classic blend.
Yeah. We have a dessert that's going to be interesting with dates and fruit and so forth. What did you pick for that?
Well, we've got a special wine for that. This really doesn't have any competition. We're the only ones to have made this product. The first vintage was 1974. This is 1978, and it's called Botrytis Sauvignon Blanc.
Well, that's the noble rot.
Noble rot, yes, yes. And you can see the color, that
it's a beautiful color.
That's the way the juice comes in. When we get the juice from the grapes, it's already yellow like this.
I think everyone was worried when we heard a large soft drink company was taking over a small quality vineyard. How has that worked out?
We've gotten along beautifully. I really like the Coca-Cola company bought our winery, the Monterey Vineyard, in 1977. They also bought the Taylor Winery in New York, Taylor and Great Western, and they bought Sterling, all in the same year, 1977. We then started this, Taylor California Cellars, at the Monterey facility, and then just last year we built, with Coca-Cola money, we built a brand new winery, a large winery for Taylor California Cellars.
In other words, they're interested in real quality.
They honestly are.
Dick, thank you, and we look forward to tasting all these good wines. Ladies and gentlemen, dinner is served. We've had wonderful fun this evening. I hope you have to come back next time. This is Julia Child. Bon appetit.